This is practice questions for the amino acid derivatives and some extras. So question 1. Which enzyme is deficient in phenylketonuria? A. Tyrosine, B. Phenylalanine hydroxylase, C. Dopamine hydroxylase, or D. Glutathione peroxidase. Answer is going to be B. Phenylalanine hydroxylase. In phenylketonuria, this is the phenyl portion right here, that's referring to phenylalanine. So this specific enzyme is responsible for converting the phenylalanine into tyrosine, which then tyrosine continues off to make a whole bunch of our other stuff. So if we're unable to convert it, we get phenylketonuria, which ends up being phenylalanine visible in the urine because we're unable to break it down. Question 2. A deficiency in which conversion leads to albinism? Phenylalanine to tyrosine, L-dopa to dopamine, L-dopa to melanin, or tyrosine to T3T4. So for albinism, we'd say, what is albinism? This is when somebody is born an albino. An albino is when there's no pigmentation to the skin. So that is our melanin. So from L-dopa to melanin. Now, if this answer was not available, if this answer was not here, our second best answer would be this, the phenylalanine to tyrosine. Because if we look at our biochemistry notes, converting that phenylalanine to tyrosine is how we go about producing melanin. So, although this is technically correct, the one answer containing melanin is going to be the most correct. This is the way that boards will try and get you, is that they're going to have two answers that are correct, but one of them is definitely more correct on some questions. So just keep an eye out for that specifically. So question 3, what is the final product of the conversion pathway, starting with tyrosine and involving catecholamines? So what is the final product that is produced from tyrosine that is a catecholamine? Is it dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, or L-dopa? So we want to remember what our full order is. So again, we go from tyrosine to L-dopa to dopamine, then to norepinephrine, and then finally epinephrine. So epinephrine is our final step. We want to make sure that we remember that order, as that order of creation forwards and backwards is definitely going to pop up on quite a few exam questions. Which amino acid is the precursor to melatonin? Is it tyrosine, tryptophan, phenylalanine, or histidine? So first things first, we want to look at melatonin. What is melatonin? Melatonin is the chemical responsible for our sleep and awake cycles. It helps us fall asleep. Part of that circadian rhythm, different from melanin. So melatonin is our tryptophan. Histidine becomes histamine. Phenylalanine gets turned into tyrosine, and then down that whole pathway eventually to melanin, and then their tyrosine as well continues. Technically L-dopa first, and then the melanin. This is question number 5. What is the isoelectric point of an amino acid? The pH when an amino acid has a positive charge. The pH when an amino acid has no net electrical charge. The pH when an amino acid has a negative charge. Or the pH when an amino acid is fully protonated. Okay. The isoelectric point, this is referred to kind of as the equilibrium or balance point, also known as a Zwitter ion. This is where the pH has no net electrical charge. Everything has been balanced accordingly. Question number 6. What is glutathione composed of? A. Glycine, glutamate, cysteine. B. Glutamine, aspartate, lysine. C. Glycine, tyrosine, phenylalanine. D. Glutamate, tryptophan, histidine. This is going to be our glycine, glutamate, and cysteine. Specifically, more importantly than knowing these exact components, we want to remember where it is produced. Glutathione is in the liver, and it also has a connection to selenium when we talk about minerals. So these will pop back up again later on. Question 7. Which mineral is essential for the enzyme glutathione peroxidase? Kind of already gave the answer to this one. Zinc, selenium, magnesium, or iron. Because I already talked about it a second ago. This is our selenium. We think about what does zinc do? Zinc is responsible for healing and immune system. Iron is primarily responsible for hemoglobin. And then our magnesium pairs with calcium to ensure proper function. Lots and lots of stuff require magnesium in order to work properly. Which of the following is a polypeptide hormone? Is it insulin, cortisol, dopamine, or estrogen? Okay, so going through all of these, the correct answer is in fact insulin. Insulin as well as glucagon are our polypeptide hormones. Cortisol is a steroid. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter or a catecholamine. And estrogen is also a steroid. Question number 9, what is the function of insulin? A, it is part of the cell membrane. B, it helps glucose enter the cells. C, it increases glycogenolysis. D, it functions as a steroid hormone. Answer is going to be B, it helps glucose enter the cell. It increases glycogenolysis. We read this word, this is glycogen. Lysis means to break down. So this is the breakdown of glycogen, when in fact insulin stimulates our glycogenesis, as well as lipogenesis, any of those other ones, creating things, because when we have insulin being pumped, we have extra energy. Question 10. Which amino acid is converted to histamine? Phenylalanine, tryptophan, histidine, or tyrosine? This is going to be our histidine. Specifically, let's think, what is it so special about histidine? What is a special type of question that they might ask us on boards about histidine? Is it essential? The answer is yes, in children only. Children require consumption of histidine in order to have it. Once we are older, our bodies are able to produce it by itself. Question 11. What is a zwitterion? It is an amino acid with a negative charge, amino acid with a positive charge, amino acid at its isoelectric point, or an amino acid that is fully deprotonated. This is going to be very similar to the question we had before. An amino acid at its isoelectric point. We might also call this at equilibrium. Meaning it is not changing, it's just hanging out. It's not going to be releasing stuff or gaining stuff. Question 12. What amino acid is the precursor to niacin? Is it A, tryptophan, B, tyrosine, C, phenylalanine, or D, histidine? Okay. Remember, tyrosine, that is responsible for the catecholamines, the dopamine, and all that kind of stuff, as well as melanin, but not niacin. Phenylalanine turns into tyrosine. So again, not looking at that. Histidine turns into histamine. So we are left with tryptophan. If you remember, niacin is which B vitamin? That is our B3 vitamin. And we actually have another coenzyme called TPP, that is tryptophan pyrophosphate, responsible, that is a derivative of niacin that helps us to in some of our different reactions. Which of the following is a catecholamine? Serotonin, epinephrine, melatonin, or thyroxine? Remember, our catecholamines, there are 3 of them specifically. There is dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine are our catecholamines. Tyrosine is a precursor for all of the following except thyroid hormones, dopamine, melatonin, epinephrine. Let's go through them. Tyrosine even sounds like thyroid hormone. It is. Tyrosine is a base for our thyroid hormones. Dopamine, yes, 100%. Melatonin, let's stop and let's think about this. Tyrosine, we produce tyrosine and it goes through all of the different things. Tyrosine turns into L-dopa, and L-dopa turns into melanin, not tyrosine, not melatonin. Tyrosine turns into melanin, not melatonin. And it definitely does create epinephrine. Question 15. How much protein does a 60 kilogram person require daily? Getting a little bit into some of our more nutrition type stuff. 48 grams, 60 grams, 80 grams, or 100 grams. So the requirement that we have, it is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So this is our 60 kilogram person. Let's do 60 multiplied by 0.8. We can actually tell this just from the answer looking at this. All of these are greater than 60. So 48 grams is our requirement daily. Note that this 0.8 grams is the minimum requirement. If you go deeper into food science, 0.8 is for maintaining, just for maintaining our body's basic needs. It can go all the way up to, they usually say 1.4, all the way up to actually 2 grams per kilogram. just depending on what your body composition is and what it is that your goals are. Those are the questions for the finishing off the amino acid derivatives, the extras, and we'll keep on going.